All right, taking a look at M1.39, little review with some ratios. Students are organizing a sports equipment drive to collect sports balls for their school sports teams. They've gathered footballs and soccer balls. Their table also tracks the total number of sports balls collected. So on the table there are three pieces of information: football, soccer balls, and the total. They are added together. Complete the table of equivalent ratios for the given situation. Inside of the problem, it doesn't actually give us any of the ratios, so we are going to have to look at the table to find some information. As I look at the table, I have right here a ratio of footballs to soccer balls that I can use to help complete the rest of the table. First thing I can do is add 12 and 30 together and find out the total is 42. I can then take this ratio of 12 to 32 and I can scale it down into largest possible units. These are both divisible by 6, which will give me a 2 to 5 ratio. 2 to 5, and 2 plus 5 is a total of 7. So on the side here I have my largest possible units that I can now use to complete the rest of the table. Get rid of some of these extra lines here. All right, 2 times 4 is 8, 5 times 4 is 20, 8 plus 20 is 28, and I can double check 7 times 4 is 28. 5 times 5 is 25, 2 times 5 is 10, add them together, 35, 7 times 5 is 35. 2 times 6 is 12, 5 times 6 is 30, 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 8 is 56, 5 times 8 is 40, 2 times 8 is 16, 16 plus 40 makes 56. 7 times 9 is 63, 5 times 9 is 45, 2 times 9 is 18, 5 times 10 is 50, 2 times 10 is 20, 7 times 10 is 70. And I have now completed the table of equivalent ratios. I'm going to use the information from this table to complete 1b. I need to write my equations. I have the ratio of footballs to soccer balls, and I have that as a ratio of 2 to 5, or 2/5. The footballs are equal to the soccer balls times 2/5, which means that if I take the number of soccer balls, for example 50, and I multiply it times 2/5, 50 times 2/5 is 100 fifths, and 100 divided by 5 is 20, I would find that I have 20 of the footballs. I have the ratio of soccer balls to footballs, which is the inverse, multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal, and the soccer balls are equal to the footballs times 5 halves. And box my answer there so the teacher can see my work. Taking a look at number 2. We've got 6 lizards, 2 snakes, and a tarantula, and we need a table of equivalent ratios equivalent to the ratio of lizards to snakes. So I'm going to have lizards and snakes, and there are 6 lizards and 2 snakes. 6 lizards, 2 snakes. I see both of these are divisible by 2, which will give me a 3 to 1 ratio. So I can count by 3's in my lizard row. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. and I can count by ones in the row for snakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can now use my table to help me figure out which of these ratios is equivalent. So I see 12 lizards and 4 snakes, so I'll use that one. This one is the opposite, this 4 to 12, so that's not a good answer there. 5 to 15. I've got a 5 and I've got a 15, but they're in the wrong rows. They needed to be 5 lizards and 15 snakes. Now these last two I'm going to have to extend my table on a little bit to check them out. So I'll add 3 more, 30, and I'll add 1 more, 10. So I have a ratio of 30 lizards to 10 snakes. Looking at 56, I can continue my table out a long ways, or I can take a quick moment and check something here, 56 to 18. The ratio here is 3 to 1. If I can divide 56 by 18 and have the quotient be 3, then this ratio here would be equivalent to the 3 to 1 ratio. So 18 times 3 is 54. So this last one here is not going to work. All right, 12 ounces of Dr. Pepper costs 72 cents. What is the price per ounce of the cherry Dr. Pepper? Well, I'm going to guess that that's a typo that needs to be fixed. We're going to find the price per ounce of the Dr. Pepper Zero. So I've got dollars per ounces, and there are 72 cents per 12 ounces. Divide by 12, divide by 12. And at this point in the classroom, because we use calculators on these, I can find 72 hundredths divided by 12. And that means that it's a cost of 6 cents per ounce. All right, one last question here. Number 4, what is 30% of 400? And I need to use a double number line. Here's 400. Oh, except I like to keep my percents on the bottom line. It's just one of my little things. So here's 100. Here is 400. And I'm looking for 30%. I'm going to have to count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Connect my lines through, and it shows me that the 400 has been divided by 10. 400 divided by 10 is 40, so I'm counting by 40s. 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240, 280, 320, 360, 400. Count by my percents: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And 30%, 120, is 30% of 400. And that concludes this little review.